the Christmas tree in a brand new tree skirt. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Hello, welcome back to our second Craftmas video in this little series of December videos. I am so excited because today I'm finally properly starting to decorate the house for the holidays, which I'm just incredibly excited about because I feel like it marks truly the beginning of this holiday season. And for today's video, we're going to be sewing a mini tree skirt for a mini tree. So I've got a little tree that's probably like 4 feet tall or so, up to you if you think that's mini. But anyway, it sits in the background of the work calls in my office through the month of December. And it's never had a tree skirt. It just, the base of it has always been fine. And I've never thought to get like a mini tree skirt for it. But today we're gonna level it up and we're gonna make a tree skirt. I got a couple of really lovely plaid fabrics at the fabric store a couple weeks ago, including this gorgeous red one. I especially love, there's like a little sheen of gold shimmer throughout, and I just love a plaid. I just love it. In order to make a tree skirt, we first need a tree. So I'm going to unbox our tree and put it together, and then we'll get started. Oh, also, if we haven't met yet, my name is Summer, and I love to sew and crochet and do all sorts of fiber arts-based projects. And for the month of December, I'm making a series of holiday-related craft videos for Craftmas. So feel free to stick around and consider subscribing if you like what you see. Welcome to the floor of my office. I have here my alpine balsam fir lit tree, fake tree, 4 foot high, and this is the little corner that for much of the year is blank and sad, but for this month of the year it gets a special little tree. So let's put it together. Okay, wow, I had forgotten truly how simple this tree is. It's literally a base and then 2 parts. For some reason I thought it was a bunch more. Oh good, we've got a cat helping us. But anyway, that means this is gonna go really quickly. Cue mini time lapse. Okay, that was incredibly easy. Now the moment of truth to see if all the lights still work. Ooh, you guys, this is my first tree up for the season. God, I love a Christmas tree. This tree is like a little bit more sparse than I would probably like it to be, but it's fine. We will fill it in with some ornaments probably after I finish the tree skirt. But if you can see, so here's the whole tree. Here's Newt inspecting the tree. But the base, there's just not a lot going on down here. But I think there's a lot of room for improvement. And I think adding a little tree skirt at the bottom will actually be quite nice. Okay, I just did some calculations to try to figure out how much fabric I need to cut. I made a very rudimentary drawing. That's probably not necessary, but it helped in my brain. So basically what I'm going to do is fold my fabric into quarters and then cut along the folded edge. So essentially, instead of cutting one big circle, I'm going to cut a quarter circle, but because of how the fabric is folded, it should unfold into a full circle. I think it's actually going to be quite small, which I know I said a tiny tree skirt for a tiny tree, but it's actually going to be smaller than I thought just because of the space here, and I don't want it bunching up against the wall. The other thing is that I had played around a little bit with how I wanted to construct the tree skirt. So I already told you I'm going to be using this red flannel as kind of the visible portion, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the main flannel and then a lining. I wasn't sure if I wanted to like pad it out at all, or like not stuff it, but you know, do more of like a quilted vibe. I thought about doing just the main flannel and an interfacing for a lining to bring a little bit more stiffness or body to it. But I think what I've landed on, because this flannel is pretty stiff on its own, I think I'm just going to make like a reversible, I guess, tree skirt. So I'm essentially just going to cut out two of the same. I'm going to use the same fabric rather than trying to do anything different for the lining side. That way, when I sew it together, it'll be a little bit thicker without being like bulky, but also I can hide all of the raw edges on the inside of the fabric. I don't know if that made sense. I feel like whenever I try to explain my sewing plans, I think I'm getting better at it, but I don't know if it really translates. If it didn't make sense, don't worry, because we're about to do it right now. See this cat? This is a cat who is actively looking for trouble. Moment of truth. Did we make the shape that we wanted to make? Yes, we did. Oh, how beautiful. How beautiful. Now I'm going to make another one exactly the same. That'll be like the lining or the other side. And then we'll sew it together. It's going to be an easy project. Really quick. What do you think, Newt? Do you approve? She's not sure. I took a break for lunch, so it's a little bit later, but I have both pieces of my tree skirt. They're identical. And I've had a couple of thoughts. After cutting them out, feel a little bit like it would be nice to have some sort of lining or like interior to add a little bit more structure to them. Really, I think what would be nice to have is some quilting batting. I think that's what it's called, but I don't have any of that and I don't want to go to the store. So I think we're just going to proceed as I originally planned. I think it'll be fine. Obviously, if you're making something similar at home and you want to add a little bit more like, I don't even know if it's like structure that I'm looking for, but just like texture, like oomph, you could totally add some quilt batting on the inside. Let me show you actually what my like big tree skirt looks like, because I think I kind of have that in my head as like what I want to copy. Hang on. Okay, this is my big tree skirt, and actually now that I look at it, it's got this like fuzzy exterior and then a lining on the inside that's just kind of like a felt lining. And actually now that I look at it, like it's not thick. There's nothing, it's literally just these two pieces of fabric. So maybe it's fine. Maybe what I was planning to do is fine. I don't know why I second guess myself like this. I think it's interesting when you start to make things for yourself, because it makes you look at the things that you already own, or like look at things on a website or in a store very differently. I find like I start actually thinking about like how many pieces of fabric did it take to make this? How was it constructed? And I don't know, it's just really interesting when you start to make your own things, just noticing like how many little details typically go unnoticed because you don't really have to think about them until you want to make it yourself. Anyway, that little rant aside, not even a rant, just a little thing aside, I think what I'm going to do next, I'm just going to cut a slit in one side of the fabric because it'll make it much easier to stitch everything together and turn it right side out. Okay, I feel like I waffled on for like way longer than I needed to, but that is the plan. So I have the two fabric pieces lined up here. One ended up coming out like a tiny bit larger than the other, but I think that's okay as long as they are lined up and that I have both right sides facing, which I don't at the moment. Let's rectify that. So now I've got right sides facing, which is how I'm going to sew it together. And I just want to put like a slit in one side so that I can essentially sew along here and then all the way around. We're just going to take a deep breath and do it. There we go. So next up, I'm literally just going to sew like all the way around with right sides facing along here, all the way around the outside. And then I'll leave a little bit open. Maybe I'll leave this section open so that I can turn it all right sides out. So I'm now at this last stretch of open fabric between the two layers, and I'm actually going to do something very similar to what I did in the scrunchie video from earlier this week. I'm going to turn the corner and I'm going to do like a line almost down to the end, just leaving myself a little bit of room to turn everything right sides out. Okay, initial stitching done. So I've left myself like maybe 2 inches here at the end to turn everything out. Let's turn it out and see how it looks. So the other nice thing about doing this, similar to what happened with the scrunchies, is when you turn everything inside out or right sides out, you'll end up hiding all of these raw edges, so they don't need to be finished, which is my favorite thing. If you've been around the channel at all, you have probably heard me complain about the tedium of finishing edges, especially as someone with just a domestic machine, no overlocker or anything like that. I think in the new year, I will probably explore more into doing things like French seams and flat felled seams, ways to actually encase an edge so that I'm doing less zigzag stitching on the end. Someone on my Halloween video, actually, because I complained a lot in that video about finishing edges, someone actually gave me really good advice on like how to do it in a way that was more professional. I need to go back and look at the comments to see exactly what it was, but they gave really good advice for especially finishing like a long seam. Please, if you do have any recommendations ever, feel free to leave them in the comments, because that is one of the things that I love the most about sewing videos and like crafting videos in general on YouTube. I feel like there's just such a wealth of knowledge, and people are generally really nice in the comments, but leave really good advice. So I love that so much. I definitely don't really know what I'm doing and welcome help always. As someone who is very much a self-taught sewist, I do not claim to have any of the answers. Okay, you can see I'm about halfway through this, like, always kind of makes me think of intestines when I'm turning things right side out in a tube. Sorry if that is gross. I have a medical background, so sometimes my brain just goes there. But okay, we're almost there. It's funny because in real life, I don't really consider myself like a chatty person. I'm kind of a quiet person, actually, although maybe some of my friends and family would disagree. Don't know if any of you are here watching, but I feel like when the camera turns on, I just chit chat and like waffle, and in the edit, I'm always cutting out like so much chat that's not relevant or necessary. Okay, anyway, we're close. We've got everything inside out, just gotta like smooth it out. I feel like this is gonna come out looking kind of like a travel pillow, like, you know, you put around your neck. it is really giving like travel pillow energy. Well, if I ever want to make my own travel pillow, now I've got a template for it. Okay, I'm gonna give this a really good press because that always helps. So now, basically all there is to do is close up this little hole that we use to turn it right sides out. Similar to the scrunchies, you could do this by hand and do like an invisible stitch along here. I don't feel like doing that, and I don't think it'll be very noticeable. So I'm just gonna do like a really small stitch close to the edge, and that'll be that. This is a super quick project, you guys. Like, I've done it in a couple sections of the day, so I haven't kept a timer on it or anything, but I would say this is probably like a 1 or 2 hour project max, and very beginner friendly. Okay guys, I think that's it. Like I said before, a very simple, quick, easy project that you could definitely do in an afternoon or over a weekend. I would say it's super beginner friendly. You only really need to sew like one long stitch, basically. Yeah, I think it turned out really well. Super cute with my little tiny tree in my office. With that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing because I would love to have more friends around here. And look out for my next video coming up next Tuesday. All right, happy Craftmas. Bye.